Okay, what up, ladies and gents? It's your favorite Asian robot right here. Hopefully, your favorite official content creator for the First Descendant. And today, we're going to talk about the community Q&A that the devs just held recently. All right, they've gathered responses from all across their different platforms, like social media and all that, and they've sort of compiled everything into one big Q&A. It may not address everything, and if you still have concerns, please do send them feedback. I tweet feedback at them all the time. I don't think they even listen to half of what I say, but hey. That's how you do it, all right? So I'm gonna go through this. We can have some discussions, and of course, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please leave a comment based on whatever you're hearing through the stream. I don't care if you leave me 10 comments. I'll try and read them all. I can't guarantee I'll respond to them all, but I'll try to read them all, all right? So let's talk about what's happening in the First Descendant. The dev said, we recently realized that their communication with the community has been lacking, and they'd like to apologize for this. Today, they want to aim to address as many of the suggestions and feedback that they've received from Descendants throughout their live service. Given the large volume and variety of suggestions, some may not be covered, some may be missed. Starting today, however, they plan to communicate more regularly, sharing their thoughts and updates. They appreciate our patience in this, and they do take our feedback seriously. The reason they're sharing these responses through the announcement is that the volume and breadth of suggestions make it challenging to address them all within a limited time of a broadcast style format. Therefore, they've gathered feedback from a variety of First Descendant communities and prepared responses that are as candid and detailed as possible. The responses will fall into major categories such as combat, content, equipment, customization. They'll share our suggestions and provide their team's thoughts and intentions in response. There's a lot to cover, and the document is fairly long, but they hope that we'll take our time to read through it. So that is exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to read it for you. I will read the responses as well, and of course, along the way, feel free to comment on this video. And we can have our own discussion, because sometimes it's hard to discuss with the devs. Sometimes it's hard to hear everything they have to say, But I'm here for you, so no problem. Okay, let's start talking about it. First of all, in terms of the combat direction, they want to create more content aligned with the hack and slash gun style, like more monsters, a faster pacing to combat, reduced travel time. Sorry, my glasses are a little bit dirty. I have not cleaned them since this morning, so yeah. They're developing future content. What the devs are saying is that they're developing future content to align with the hack and slash run and gun styles. Specifically, they've taken feedback regarding invasion content not fitting this approach, and they're working to better match these gameplay styles. Invasions are unfortunately boring, but also necessary because of the gold rewards right now. So some players do feel forced. I mean, indeed, to an extent, I myself feel forced playing invasions, but that's basically what's important, all right? For player suggestion 2, they say improve the invasion content. It doesn't fit the looter shooter genre, and the hidden mechanics is stressful. Not really stressful. I mean, they're like literally kindergarten puzzles, but they are right that it doesn't fit the looter shooter genre. They're currently focusing their development efforts on new content that aligns with the hack and slash run and gun direction. So they don't have specific plans to revamp invasions right now. However, they are expanding their team, and they'll continue to work on improving underutilized or less popular content alongside the development of new content. Very corporate response there, but what they're basically trying to say is that invasions have their purpose and their place. It's just for gold. Nobody cares about it. It's just for gold and Haley. Nobody cares about it other than that. So that is what it's for. It's just a really, really super quick 5 million gold farm. And although it doesn't really fit the hack and slash style, I'm sure that if it becomes underutilized in future, they will definitely relook at it. But right now, it is very well utilized because we all need gold. We all need a lot of gold, especially for the Reactor implant system. So this is not happening just yet, but it will. It will, okay? More boss patterns. Improve invisible patterns and or hidden mechanics. So far, they've been implementing patches to replace some boss patterns with new ones. New bosses will be added to new content in Season 2. And they're preparing to introduce new monster types to the fields in Season 3. So they're going to work to diversify the boss patterns while ensuring that they align with the hack and slash run and gun styles. So they've sort of figured out the direction. They know where to go. They're going to try and get the bosses to work with that. New bosses are being added to the new content in Season 2, so we can look forward to that. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that develops. So hell yeah, in my case. Okay. Farming missions feel too long and tedious. They'd like adjustments to mission duration or pacing. They've learned from player feedback that players enjoy missions with constant monster spawns, which makes a lot of sense, and the freedom to roam while fighting. As a result, we've changed all missions in the hard infiltration operations to extermination missions. They aim to create content with dense combat experience rather than just fast-paced progression. therefore allowing for hack and slash, run and gun style gameplay, which is good. You know, there's a reason why Dynasty Warriors always remain popular. Everybody wants to be Lubu, you know, slashing everybody. Everybody wants to be Zhuge Liang, blasting lasers, even though such things never existed, at people. That's fair, and I can accept that. Okay, improvement to grappling hooks. I know many of y'all have come to me with suggestions about this. I know many of y'all have talked about suggestions for this. Grappling hooks like cooldown reduction, out of combat cooldown reduction. They believe that the purpose of the grappling hook improvement is to enhance character mobility. All characters should be able to move with Bunny for a better co-op experience. Currently, Bunny often arrives first and ends the event before other characters can catch up. To address this, they're considering improving the grappling hook or introducing new default mobility skills or movement items in the medium to long term. They're working to improve co-op play so that players can run and fight together. I personally think a 1 second cooldown reduction on the grappling hooks, my personal suggestion, and out of combat, no cooldown on the grappling hooks would be the perfect way. Let me Spider-Man through the map. I'm a Spider-Man all the way to the end. And you know, Bunny can do whatever she wants. Okay. Remove the guided missile patterns and reduce the hit rate of common monsters. I say no to this. Update 1.16 already reduced monster tracking. I mean, come on, look. The point of a game like this is that if you can't take a few hits and if you can't dodge a few hits, you got a problem. Think about, okay, we have to be a bit realistic here. We can't just say, oh, you know, monsters should not just be able to hit us. Why not? You're able to hit monsters by aiming, right? So people say, oh, excuse me, Asian robot, but then there's no counterplay. I'm like, well, yes, there is. It's called following an Asian robot build. As an official content creator, my job is to run through the content and show you guys how to run through the same content. If I cannot run through the content, then I will personally go knock on the dev's door and say, hey, you did something wrong here. Because, quite frankly, we are supposed to figure out the way. If you do not follow the methodologies that we lay out, and then you go off and do your own thing, and then you lose, there's nobody to blame for that but yourself. Some people would use the word skill issue. I try to refrain from saying that because, look, games are for people of all skill levels as long as you've got a methodology. But the problem here is that most people won't follow the methodology. Guided missiles and tracking projectiles have not been a problem, but they've already reduced them. I think any further nerfs to this probably would make the game a bit too easy. We got to balance between challenge and also having fun. So please follow builds, learn how to actually take a few hits, learn what you can and cannot dodge, and learn to kill the targets before they kill you. Okay? All right. Player suggestion 3, add an invincibility effect when rolling. They've basically said no. The idea behind the roll is to evade the attack, not to be invulnerable during the evasion, therefore giving you a false sense of overcoming the attack. This plays contrary to a lot of other games in the market where the roll itself, Monster Hunter and all that, gives you an invulnerability frame, which you use to actually dodge the attack, rather than the roll distance being the dodge itself. Here's the thing. This isn't Monster Hunter. The enemy attacks are not so wide that they are completely undodgeable. You have to properly distance yourself during the fight. You're not fighting up close with a sword or a hammer. So I think that an invulnerability frame is not suitable here. Use the roll for what it is, a distance gaining mechanism. You've seen me use it in Deathstalker fights. You've seen me using it in a lot of fights. Watch how we play, learn the same thing. You don't need an invulnerability effect here. Unless they add a melee character that has to go in with a gigantic, massive hammer, then okay. In that case, I'll say invulnerability on roll, fine. All right, increase HP and MP recovery outside of combat. There's already a lot of ways to do this, so I don't think it's necessary as well. And the dev team feels the same. Okay. Make it easier to get ammo supplies, especially for special rounds. How y'all running out of ammo in the first place? Unless they mean, oh, special is in the purple rounds, then yeah, okay, fair enough. I agree with that. And shotguns need a rework in terms of that. Improve equipment swapping during combat. There are some technical challenges associated with this suggestion, and we have tried to prevent equipment or module swapping from becoming as part of a build. All right, yeah, that I completely understand, but look, if you start a battle with the wrong module setup, then what you do is you tell your friend, I gotta exit, or you can exit yourself, all right, and then swap your module setup, but at least prepare beforehand. Module changes, should be allowable, and they are planning to introduce module changes on restarts after mission completion, but definitely not during combat, and I think that's fine. Because last time there were people that abused this, we should not be abusing it mid-combat. Remove collision between party members for smoother movement. They plan to revisit that, but they're not actually going to make any changes right now. So I've also found that it doesn't bother me anymore. It used to, but now I'm just like kind of chill on it. So I don't know, maybe as the game develops, it won't be a problem, but yeah. Maybe when everybody was running around as Bunny, it was more of a problem. We'll see. Player suggestion 8, improve terrain features that interfere with run and gun gameplay in the fields. They're continuously refining the level design to enhance its quality. Terrain adjustments are included in every update, but due to the abundance of objects, some unaddressed terrain elements still remain. Okay. Yeah, they will try and fix this. Basically, there are some bumps in maps and missions, and I have noticed them as well. But this is a change that will take some time, so I can't blame them for not changing it immediately. Allow shooting while running instead of walking when moving backwards for a better sense of speed. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Okay? There has to be a line between realism and gameplay, and quite frankly, there's no game that allow you to just backpedal, speed run backward while shooting your gun, unless you're talking about Quake 3 Arena from way back when. So unless you're yearning for those days, but then basically back then everybody had roughly the same constant movement speed. So this isn't Quake 3 Arena. This is TFD. So I think we should keep it as is. They will reconsider if there's significant player requests, but don't take this as a reason to have everybody go and request it, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's better to have natural movement. I'm just saying, genuinely, it's better to have natural movement. If you are standing in place with your sharp precision shot, that's a choice you got to make, and you have to adjust your build to fit that. I use sharp precision shot. I have used sharp precision shot. I'll have a video out in later time period explaining about sharp precision shot. But if that's the reason why you want to be able to run backward while shooting, no. Because theoretically speaking, sharp precision shot should lower your movement speed to a crawl, because you are literally holding down the trigger and blasting all the ammo you have in that magazine. All right, let's be fair. Okay, early growth. Player suggestion. Early story difficulty is too high. They already nerfed the early game, so we're going to skip that, because if anyone finds that the early story difficulty is too high, they're not watching robot content, they're not watching the streams, they're not following the builds. They should be doing that. If they're not doing that, or they haven't discovered me, why haven't they? That means that they're not seeking the information, because I know my stuff is out there everywhere. So I feel that the early game progression is already nerfed from when we first started, so I don't think it needs to be dumbed down any further. Because here's the problem. If we dumb it down even further, then when we actually get to hard mode, you're going to get all the people that don't know what they're doing. They get to hard mode, and then they're going to say, hard mode too hard. You know, there'll be a significant step up. That should not be the case. All right, that should really not be the case. Okay. Content requiring initial learning should be more detailed and mandatory. Module enhancement. I mean, look, okay, I have to say that in regards to this, right? In regards to this, I will read you the dev response shortly, but look, again, it comes down to we can't dumb down everything. Like, module enhancement is the most basic thing that anyone can do. Just walk up to the module guy, enhance, enhance, enhance. It's not hard. You click plus, you get another level. You spend the resources, you solidify that level. I don't know how much more detailed they can make the guidance on that. Unless they create a tooltip saying, or you know what, they could do that. They could create a tooltip saying, enhancing your modules improves your combat performance. Go to Cillian and then enhance your modules. Your module enhancement will cost Kyber and gold. I think that could work. Like, they could do a little tooltip like that, like, you know how they do it in Liza P? Same thing. They could do that. And then everybody will know what they're doing after the first time. So, fair enough. I say, okay, that's fair. Anyway, here's what Dave said. They're preparing several support strategies. In Season 2, they plan to reward players with enhanced modules as they progress through the story. They will also reduce the farming difficulty for Enzo and Glay to allow players to have more descendants in the early stages and help them reach hard difficulty. Additionally, we'll introduce better guides, help features, clearer difficulty indicators to support players in settling into the early game. Or, you know what you can do? Go straight to my Ultimate FTP Survival Guide and you will clear normal mode in a week. And tune into some streams as well if you need additional help. So that's my solution to them. It's a simpler solution because it'll be a lot faster. If people are genuinely struggling, it's because they did not follow that guide. That guide literally tells you exactly what to do to overcome the normal difficulty, because we've done it when it was harder, and that is exactly what we did. That's exactly what we use. I promise you. If anybody has trouble clearing it after following that guide, I don't know what to say. You know, Ultimate FTP Survival Guide, people. All right. UI features. Add a feature to disable party members' effects. I'll just read the dev response because it is in line with my thoughts. They understand that visibility can be an issue and multiple effects occur simultaneously, and there can be optimization issues depending on the device. To address this, they agree that there's a need for step-by-step feature to toggle effects on and off. However, simply toggling effects based on party members and oneself makes it difficult to identify buffs from party members, so they believe grouping effects for the on and off in the control stages is necessary. Although it is not on the roadmap yet, they will begin discussions immediately due to ongoing optimization issues on some devices after the 400% dungeon update. They'll provide further details through dev notes once plans are solidified. So they are definitely going to be optimizing this. Improve the applied buff UI as all the buffs are small and green, making them hard to distinguish. They're working on better ways to identify buffs, and they plan to make improvements as soon as possible. Player suggestion: better descendants and weapon balance. So far, they focused on reworking specific descendants and weapons in each patch. For Season 2, they're planning an overall rebalance to allow players to choose from a broader range of weapons and descendants. Player suggestion 2. The low reward drop rates feel more difficult than they should. Please improve farming difficulty. Okay, we've talked about this at length, and basically to address drop rate concerns in Season 2, they're introducing the target reward system. While certain items have a 20% drop rate, some players might obtain the item on their first try, while others may not get it even after 10 attempts. Our analysis of server-wide logs show that the overall drop rates align with the intended 20%, but individual player experiences do not converge to this 20%. This is the argument that I've had with so many people on the internet because they basically did not understand probability and statistics. So they feel that they agree with what players are going through, and the target reward system aims to address this by allowing players to select a mission and earn a guaranteed reward after a set number of attempts. Additionally, they plan to offer enhanced shape stabilizers as a limited time event reward, which will increase the chances of obtaining rare items when opening amorphous materials. They are committed to providing a balanced farming experience that feels fair to all players. So, hopefully, this will affect the outposts the most. Because 25% amorphous drop rate is, yes, outposts are only 1 minute each, but they are so boring to farm. They are not exciting or engaging content. I actually refuse to do outposts now that I farm pretty much everything I need from outposts, because no. It is one of the most boring experiences, ladies and gents. So 100% I agree on this. Hopefully the system will be implemented well in Season 2. And at least it's not well, it is theoretically a pity system, but I think it'll work well. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, storyline content-wise. The overall storyline feels short or incomplete. There's a desire for more expansion on the backstories of key characters. The story seems to progress to a certain point and feels like it stalls, so there's a desire for the main story to continue consistently. They plan to expand the main story with each season, and they're increasing their team size to deliver more story content. Good. Yes, employ more people, deliver more story content. We want this, so good. They'd like to see deeper stories explaining why characters are in their current situations. Backstories, motivations of popular characters. Season 3 is going to focus on Glay's story. Not Season 2, Season 3. All right. And they've noticed that many players resonate more with the personal drama of the Descendants than the overarching storyline. So they plan to ensure the main story also captures the Descendants' narratives. Good. Story is always crucial. The main reason people play games is to experience the narrative, experience the story. So this is good. Some players want a system where the story changes based on choices. They basically said no to this. Okay, look. This isn't Lies of P. You're not going to become a real boy at the end of this. All right, you want to play Lies of P? Wait for NeoWiz to deliver the next game or the DLC involving Dorothy. This is not the way. This is First Descendant. Much like with other similar games in this genre, what you guys are going to see is you guys are going to see like a overarching storyline that involves everybody's participation, and the narratives that come through that storyline and all the other stuff that comes with it. So that is what you guys are going to see. That is what it's going to make up a big part of this. So I don't believe that multiple branching stories is going to work. Okay. In terms of characters, They'd like to see new characters and abilities added as the current roster lacks diversity. Lol, the Asian in me just came out. They're exploring ways to introduce more new characters, and as a result, we will introduce 2 new Descendants, 1 male, 1 female in Season 2. New Ultimate Descendants will also be added. They'll be continuing their efforts to bring more diverse and innovative Descendants. I think introducing 1 male Descendant would be fine. Rather, I feel that they should focus on the Descendants that are never played. How many of y'all seen a Jaber or a Blair in a Colossus run? Not me, because they're just not meta. I only see Lepics from the people operating on old information, and even then, most of them still can't even take on Frostwalker. So, you know, we need to see more Descendants, yes. But first, we also need to buff the underperforming ones. Keep that in mind. Adding characters that enable more diverse combat styles. They hope to see more unique characters with complex skill mechanics or specialized combat styles. They're working on adding more characters with diverse abilities to offer a broader gameplay experience. However, we believe this also requires more varied content. Currently, the content is divided into 2 main types: intercept battles, i.e. large boss fights, and exterminations, which focus on defeating many monsters, basically mobbing and bossing. As a result, characters optimized for these 2 content types are highlighted. We think it's necessary to diversify the types of content to allow for a wider range of character choices. At the same time, we are carefully testing new content to avoid creating an environment where new characters feel required as choices for this content. As soon as new content is ready, we'll seek player feedback through focus group testing and dev notes. Okay, great. I agree with this because, realistically speaking, basically the game is divided into mobbing and bossing. So even if people want to see more diverse combat styles and more complex skill mechanics, I hope that players will actually come back with suggestions on this, because Luna is basically a pure support and nobody ever plays her. I never see a Luna out in the wild, and when I do, her performance is so lackluster that I do just the same with or without her. This is not right. We need to make it so that a support character, you really bring a support character, like, I know that they don't want to make it necessary, but we should make it feel like a serious jam when a support character is buffing a properly made party. And I think that is quite important. Like, a support character must truly support. So that I think is quite important. Otherwise, the character just ends up DPS. Like Enzo, he's supposed to be a support, but all he is an ammo generator and DPS who can survive thanks to his massive shields. So yeah. Okay, in terms of combat, they've suggested that current dungeons are repetitive and lack new challenges and enemy types. We need dungeons that are more challenging and require strategic thinking. Okay, before I even read the dev response on this, I want to say something to the players. We require dungeons that are more challenging and require strategic thinking. Yeah, what happened when invasions were introduced? The first time around, they required a bit of strategic thinking, and y'all said no. And the main problem with that was not the puzzles, it was the fact that we couldn't play them in parties. Now, had you actually introduced them as party content, it might have gone on a lot better. So hopefully they have recognized that. But the fact of the matter is, players are not up for strategic thinking. I don't mind mechanics in a dungeon. I don't mind a particular strategy required to beat the mechanics, so long as these are explained at the start. Have somebody calm us and say, okay, right now, here's what you Descendants need to do. You guys need to silence these things in order to do that. Then we'll do that, you know? Let us know what to do. At least the first time. And then after that, we can turn off the voiceover guidance or whatever, because hearing it every time is dull. But the first time, you're going to need that. And then have an option to toggle it off after that. So right at the mission selection screen, just say toggle off voice guidance, toggle on voice guidance. So those that are repeatedly running the content, they don't have to get annoyed. But those that aren't, or maybe running it for the first time, can have it on. All right, that's important. So basically, I think that this is something that can happen. But anyway, here's what they've responded with. The dungeons in Season 2 will feature new types of monsters. They also recognize the need for more challenging endgame content. So they're preparing a range of endgame experiences for Season 2. This includes adding higher difficulty special operations and intercept battles, as well as content that gradually increases in difficulty to challenge the toughest stages. Excuse me. We are hoping to continue to expand the range of endgame experiences. My apologies for that. Anyway, not my apologies for the dev statement, my apologies for the random burp. Anyway, they do recognize the need for challenging endgame content, but I don't know. Look, they have said something about mega dungeons coming in Season 2. This may include adding higher difficulty special operations, intercept battles, but the main thing is supposed to be mega dungeons. So hopefully there are new monster types. Hopefully it is more of a raid-like experience, because I think that's what people are missing right now. We need a 4-man squad to raid properly, you know? That's what I'm thinking. We need a raid team that has a mobber. We need a raid team that has a bosser, you know? There must be a division of labor and division of roles so that players can effectively contribute. Okay, we need large monsters. Currently, there are only small, normal, and medium monsters. We'd like to see Vulgus mobs with weak points that can be targeted. I think people just want to mix and match Colossi into these fights. So yeah, large Vulgus mobs that have weak points would be really, really cool. If not Colossi, but yeah. It would be nice to have some genuinely larger monsters to, I guess, create a more intense fight experience. The boss's attack patterns and combat style are somewhat monotonous. We hope to see void intercept battles with more complex patterns. I believe that Deathstalker, and they've said the same thing. Basically, Deathstalker has aligned with this, and hopefully there'll be more intercept battles that contain these type of complex patterns and mechanics where we have to really challenge ourselves to fight. But even then, Deathstalker is fairly straightforward. Just spray and pray with your EL and you're good to go. Okay, they'd like to see a stronger emphasis on the importance of co-op play in dungeons. Okay, first and foremost, this is very difficult. Co-op synergy, I think that okay, let me explain my thought. Let me explain their thoughts first, then I'll explain my thoughts. They understand that there are mixed feelings about the emphasis on co-op play dungeons in the First Descendant, and the dungeons are designed to be able to be played solo as well, with the option for smoother and faster progress in a group. They intend to maintain this approach while enhancing co-op synergy, which we believe should be supported by player abilities and content difficulty. Currently, the lower difficulty of content may make the need for co-op less apparent, but as we introduce more challenging in-game content, we anticipate that the demand for co-op play may grow naturally. Okay, what I want to say on this is the following. For co-op play to occur naturally, what we need is a system whereby, okay, so this dungeon requires all of us to challenge it in a smart manner, but then that starts introducing roles. And right now in game, we don't have roles. Ajax is a tank without a taunt. If you give me a reason to play Ajax and you give him a proper taunt, basically what First Descendant needs to do is that they need to start from the beginning. Every Descendant needs a role to play. They need to fall into a category. All right? And then from this category that they fall into, they then need their abilities to supplement their ability to do this. Ajax is a main tank. Kyle should be a secondary tank, but realistically, right now he's a bomber jet pilot DPS. I don't know if there are any other shield-based Descendants, but I would like to see a solid, categorization of tank-based Descendants, DPS-based Descendants, and then you've got the support-based Descendants. Descendants may be able to cross categories. So like a support Descendant could become a DPS or could have a slight bit of tanking potential, but realistically, they should be ultimately a support. And this is kind of the crucial key here. We don't have roles. Therefore, to create co-op play, there is no synergy in the first place, because what are you supposed to synergize with? Basically, right now, everybody's DPS going in as hard as they can. So until there is actual role-based gameplay, it is extremely difficult to introduce this kind of thing. So I hope that the first suggestion that you guys give, and the first suggestion they need to take on board, is they need to look at their characters and say, okay, he's a tank, he's a DPS, he's a support, he's a Junkrat, something like that. Basically, this is what needs to happen. All right. This would be the ideal way to actually play and enjoy the game. And especially if they want a system of co-op play. So I would say that. Improve the structure of amorphous outpost farming methods. Yes, please. Yes, freaking please. All right. But they're basically approaching this carefully, as it may put Sharon players who have less monster killing power at a disadvantage. No. Okay. First of all, you use the Robot Thundercage build, Sharon, bada bing, bada boom. Does not matter. Make the outpost a bit more rewarding. It's okay. But Sharon players are not going to be at a disadvantage. Tell you what, you introduce this content First Descendant, I'll make the Sharon build. No problem. Easy. Thunder Cage, Sharon, easy peasy bonizy. Okay? I tell you that much. Remove unreasonable penalties for content, weapon modules, inversion, etc. Yeah, they plan to retain the plus-minus effect for some modules as it offers an option to maximize positive effects while configuring characters or builds where certain stats are needed. But alongside the positive-negative effect, they want to introduce positive-positive effect modules, just like bullet integration, which will provide players with more customization options. Good. I like that. They're aiming to provide attribute bonuses to encourage a wider variety of character views, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so yeah, good. They are also thinking the same thing. I agree with this, and yes, but please take note that I also agree with the fact that you cannot just have plus, 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 plus all the way. It doesn't really work. Sometimes a good mod must come with drawbacks so that you can really squeeze out that min-max factor. Otherwise, everybody's just going to put all the pluses on, and then there you go. That's not how build should work, because that will actually cause a lack of build diversity. And as it is, there's already a lack of build diversity for most weapons, because basically it's, okay, what can this weapon do? Is it weak spot focus, critical damage focus, both focus? How do we jam in all the damage mods? And then how do we use it as best we can? Yeah? So this is important. Okay. Please consider accessibility options for visually and hearing impaired players. They are attempting to do this as they go on. Okay, events. The events that have been held or are currently ongoing aren't very engaging, and the rewards aren't sufficient to encourage engagement. Yes and no, I agree with this. They are definitely working on trying to implement a wider variety of event experiences, and they want to provide various in-game events as well, so attendance checks, event store, stuff like that. They want to try and support the gameplay through events whenever there aren't major updates, which is why this next event took place in the first place, because there isn't really a lot of major change coming until Season 2. They're working on Season 2. So yeah, I kind of agree with that, and I kind of understand where they're coming from. So although the events aren't very engaging, over time I think they'll change and become better. They'd like to see more special rewards like character skins. They're always carefully considering event structures and rewards. As previously mentioned, they plan to introduce new event features along with growth items, materials, currency rewards, and exploring other options, including character skins, to enhance motivation and satisfaction. Ideally, these skins will align with the season's theme, and they're looking into ways for players to earn them simply by event participation and gameplay. Yes, do it. Because event skins are important. And while I can understand the need to sell during events, there must at least be something for everybody to wear. So please do introduce some universal basic skins for events, and people be happy. Okay, equipment suggestions. Firearms. There's a lack of incentive to obtain ultimate weapon, and they currently lack uniqueness. Okay, who wrote this suggestion? Who wrote this suggestion? I want to know. Give me his address right now, because I want to know. Who wrote this suggestion that they lack uniqueness? Are you freaking kidding me? Let's talk uniqueness here. We have Greg's that bombards an opponent. The Secret Garden, which enhances abilities. We have literally the Perforator, which now drops bombs. Yeah, I think that if you're thinking they lack uniqueness, is because whoever wrote this suggestion just has the Thunder Cage EL and says, these two guns, I can do everything. I don't need any other guns. I'm not going to experiment. Like, I get it. EL is really strong. Thunder Cage is really good for mobbing, but yo, there are a lot of guns out there and they do have unique abilities. Do they need improvements? Yes. Many of you have been asking for a Fallen Hope buff for the longest time, even though it was never even talked about. All right, don't know who told you that this was happening, but it was never even talked about. But I'm sure that they will certainly buff some of these weapons later down the line. That being said, there is definitely no lack of uniqueness. However, cool effects. They can just steal from Destiny 2. They can just like say, I mean, everybody would love a bow. Everybody wants Trinity Ghoul. Everybody probably wants something like the Ace of Spades, which we theoretically already have. So why not? Why not? There's a lot that they can do, and I don't disagree with adding more options, but I would not say they currently lack uniqueness. All right. Now, the devs have said that they plan to rebalance ultimate weapons in Season 2 to give players a broader choice based on their preferences. All right. Additionally, they'll continue to add ultimate weapons with interesting stats and effects to make them more worthwhile to collect. Good. Kingsguard Lance, by the way, very unique. I don't think any other weapon does that. Just an FYI. They would like support for zooming in and out with firearms. I am okay with what we have, but yeah, it would be nice to have a proper ADS system for firearms. I would like that, but yeah. we shall see. The idea for this, according to the dev team, is it's currently on hold because TFD is optimized for fast-paced run and gun combat. They believe it's more important to focus on creating engaging firearm effects and iconic dream weapons rather than precision controls. So they've lowered the priority of this point on their agenda, which I agree with. This isn't an aiming game. This is a run, shoot, fast game. All right? They would like to add a feature to adjust the type and number of secondary options on reactors. Good. Currently, they don't support readjustments since reactors only have 2 options. Yeah, but have you seen the pool of your options? Okay, this one I disagree with the dev team. Y'all need that reroll option, and y'all needed it yesterday. Get it done. Okay, get it done. We would like to add crafting of rare reactors for better build variety. Okay, this is unnecessary. Just get them to do the readjustment. That would be much more important. The reactor implant system in update 1.16 has made weapon optimization easier. They've noticed feedback about the consumable material cost for the implant. They'll review the data and, if needed, increase ways to earn more materials. Our direction for reactor improvements includes optimizing the rotation system to simplify farming for ultimate reactors and creating an environment for more interesting builds by introducing new reactor tiers in the future. Transcendent reactors, yay! But all of this comes back to, Jesus Christ, fix the rolls. If we can fix the rolls, nobody would complain in the first place. I'm just saying. All right, I'm just saying. Add more ways to obtain modules. Already done. Increase the performance of dedicated Transcendent modules. Yes. Because quite frankly, and they said that they will review the performance of underutilized Transcendent modules and adjust them to allow for more variety in their usage. Yes, yes, yes. We need this. Add a feature to delete modules from the inventory. They will work on that. They'll further assess whether an inventory delete function is necessary. Right now, if Transcendent module drops and you're full, it'll go into your lost and found. Add an auto combine feature for modules. I'm okay with what we have now, but yeah, I can see some people needing this. Sure. Okay. Players want them to add functionalities for the search function for modules and inventory, initial search, space ignoring, option search. I don't understand any of this, so the devs said they understand what they mean, so sure, hopefully they'll add some quality of life improvements, but I find it okay. In terms of customization, they feel that the customization options for characters are limited. They'd like to see more options for appearance elements, so wider selection of hairstyles and things like that. Well, yeah, but y'all gonna have to pay for them. So you got that hairstyle money? Think about that. Allow us to dye the default character experience. People have been asking for this for ages, and guess what? They've listened to their requests, and at the start of Season 2, Descendants and Ultimate Descendant default appearances will be dyeable. They apologize for the delay in implementing this as a highly requested feature. Additionally, as noted in previous update notes, dedicated spawns and back attachments will become shared items starting in Season 2. So this is going to be good. The limited selection of skins makes it hard to customize as desired. Release more skins with both casual and unique themes. They are trying to expand the variety of skins that they have, but guys, please lower the price. If skins were $5, $10, you'd see a lot more sales, just saying. The customization system isn't very user-friendly, and the process for changing character appearances is complicated. It's not complicated, it's expensive. I like the system we have, but the paints are just too expensive for most people to invest in. Adjust the Twisted Worship skin. Already done? Okay, we can skip that. Make character skins in the Battle Pass and skins for firearms that players use frequently more appealing. They have listened to that, and hopefully they'll add Descendant skins and popular firearm skins. Just give me a skin for Enduring Legacy and Secret Garden. And please, dear God, stop making skins for weapons that we don't use. We just want to buy skins without bundle packages. Yes. The prices of skins, enhanced materials are too high. Okay, they've listened to the feedback, and the team and business units have agreed to sell all cosmetic items separately. Good. I'll finally be able to get my Glaive Vampire spawn without buying the whole bundle. The policy will go into effect at the start of Season 2, so take note of that. They're also reviewing enhancement materials to make them more efficient when purchasing. That's not what we talked about. We talked about the prices for skins. That was not addressed here. Y'all need to address the prices of skins. $5 to $10 is best. Are there any plans to sell retired skins again? They will. Simple answer, they will. They're looking at reintroducing them. You can read the full response if you want, but I'm going to give you a short answer. Yes. Player suggestion 1 for miscellaneous. Add the ability to use surplus materials to craft amorphous materials. They'll continue adding new systems to make use of surplus materials, similar to how ETA 0 provides an opportunity to exchange surplus blueprints for other items. Their plan is to support utilizing surplus materials, currency, and other resources in innovative ways. Servers optimization and lag. They're experiencing a lot of stuttering and lag, especially in co-op play. Yes, they need to fix that, and they're working on it. Specifically, they're working on additional optimizations for a smoother experience, some of which will be in place by season 2, so we can look forward to that. Trading system, no. Okay? They don't think it's the right time to introduce it yet, but will continue to evaluate its feasibility. Right now, their answer is no, and I agree with this answer. The most important thing is to prevent RMT, so yeah. We shall see how that develops. Add a system or space to display own descendants like figurines. They think it's a great idea, and similar suggestions have come up internally, though they don't yet have a specific plan. Hall of Descendants. Lol. It's under consideration as a medium to long-term project, so we probably will see it more in season 3 or 4. Add a photo mode. They want to add this feature internally, but it's difficult to say when it might be feasible. They will review it further and will try to keep us as updated as possible. So yeah. They're definitely interested in hearing the thoughts on the dev team's responses, so don't just leave feedback on the channel. Please make sure that you guys also leave feedback in the official Discord or on their Twitter or social media like Reddit. Give them your feedback. Give them your feedback as much as possible. The team is currently hard at work for season 2, which is scheduled for release on December 5th. Take note of that. And drawing on their experience with the season 1 update, they want to ensure they gather ample player feedback to refine content ahead of new updates. As part of this plan, they'll be conducting the focus group tests specifically for the new season 2 content. All right. They'll be sharing details in Discord, inviting players to preview the season 2 content and provide feedback. While some issues may not be resolved immediately, they're committed to gathering early feedback and incorporating as much of it as possible to shape the First Descendant into a game that truly reflects their ideas. All right? Well, our ideas. They'll be back in November with more details about season 2. So there you go. That brings us to the end of this. Now, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts. We've talked about a lot of things here. You've heard my thoughts. You've heard what I have to say. All right? The unfiltered opinion of what I have to say. But now it's up to you. You need to tell me what you want to say. You need to tell me what you feel about this. Okay? You tell me. I want to hear in the comments. Thank you for sitting through this. Thank you for watching this far. Don't forget to register me as your creator if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I look forward to hearing from you. Let me know what you have to say.